Press Play with Coach K, Episode 5. Take care of you. Let's go. You're listening to Press Play with Coach K. I'm your host, Kimberly Monroe. My mission is to inspire professional women to take the leap towards health, wealth, and happiness. I'll share practical tips and inspiring stories to help you be the boss of your business, your body, and your bank account. For more tips and to sign up for our newsletter, visit us at pressplaywithcoachk.com. Are you ready to press play? Okay, let's get started.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us for this week's episode of Press Play with Coach K. I am your host, Kimberly Monroe, and y'all know I'm always super something, so I'm super excited. I can never just be excited. I always have to be super excited about my guest today. I have with me the lovely Miss Altheresa Clark. She is CEO and founder of Inspire for Purpose. She's a therapist, life coach, speaker, and author, and I'm so delighted to introduce her to you guys today. Altheresa, you want to say hey to everybody?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm super excited too to be on your podcast, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you today.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm really ready to talk about something that's really important. And I think the whole concept of Press Play, when I first got started with this, was to really encourage people to stop stalling, where they are. And it was specifically pertaining to health and wellness and physical activity, just encouraging people to take that first step. You don't have to know everything. The journey isn't going to be perfect. But if you want to improve anything, whether it's your health, your business, you just have to get started. We live in an age of sleepers for suckers and no days off and that type of mindset and, the grind and that kind of thing, which is very important if you're trying to accomplish something. But sometimes we neglect one of the most important parts, which is self-care. Mm-hmm. And these days, self-care has almost taken on sort of like a hashtag and life of its own. And people start thinking about spa days and pampering, but we know that it's so much more than that. So can you tell me a little bit about, first of all, yourself and how you incorporate self-care into what you do with your business and your clients?
So I was horrible with self-care. I have to say, and I have to be honest. I was running around as a business owner, a mom, a wife, and I also work a job 9 to 5. So I was pulling myself in so many different directions, and I realized that I came to a point where I was running on empty. And what I tell my clients and friends is that you can only give what you have. And so me running on empty, I wasn't able to give my 100% best self to anybody, let alone my clients that are paying me to help them. And so I kind of sat down and I started writing down all the different things that I realized over the time that I had stopped doing for myself, whether it was journaling, whether it was reading, whether it was taking time to just go to the park or the beach. Those things that I used to do, I hadn't done. And I sat down and thought about it. And I was, oh my gosh, I haven't done these things in a year, because the year had just gone by so fast and things just happened over time. And so I realized that I had to incorporate self-care, because to me, I felt like as if I was running on empty and I had nothing else to give. And so I had to take my own advice, the same advice I was giving to clients and other people. I had to say, hey, you have to take your own advice, because if you're not taking your own advice and if you're not living in what you speak, then how can you tell other people to do the same thing? And so for me, It was kind of retraining myself into getting back into the habit of self-care. And so it was a journey for me that I had to kind of rediscover again.
Wow. I hear that so much from women. One of the things that made me want to start health coaching is that people would come to me and say, I really want to make this health change in my life, but I'm so busy. I'm working, I have a family, and I don't know how to get started. And everything that you just said, I hear so much about being pulled in so many different directions. So you think about something as important as eating well, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise. Those things aren't luxuries, they're necessities. But even doing things that we need to do for ourselves, sometimes we don't take the time out to do it. So how did your personal experience with lacking self-care inspire the business that you started?
So I started my business in 2016, and my business kind of started from me having that burning desire inside of me that I knew that I had a higher purpose and I had things in the inside of me that I needed to share with the world. And so I eventually stepped out on faith and decided to launch my business. And when I first launched my business, things were slow, and I decided the things that I wanted other people to do, I started implementing myself and then sharing with the world. So when I first launched, I had 16 days of inspiration, and my 16 days of inspiration were actually the tips of self-care that I used myself. So if it was prayer, meditating, sleeping, having some type of physical activity, really taking care of my mental health, because mental health is also important. It's a part of your whole wellness. I just touched on the different things that I believe as a whole was mental health, physical, spiritual, and emotional. And so when I first started, I kind of delved into those things and shared the things that I was doing in creating and launching my business. And from there, it grew because other people got to see that I wasn't perfect. I had my own struggles with different things, just like they do. And so they were able to relate, and they were able to be inspired by the things that I was putting out to the world that not only touched on one aspect, but the different aspects that affect your overall wellness. So that's how it kind of started.
And, I think two things that you said are so important. So I know you are a licensed clinical social worker,
yes,
which I can only imagine what it's like to serve people and to take on a lot.
Right.
And so, the burnout that happens and sort of the giving, it's a giving service profession, as well as being a mother and being a wife are also service roles that we take on. So the idea that you decided not only to use your education and your knowledge and your expertise, but also to be transparent and use your own personal experience to help other people, I think that's huge. And, so much of what we do comes from a place of allowing ourselves to be vulnerable to other people and see that everything isn't always perfect. We have our down days too, but let me tell you, not just based on what I read and studied, but also what I've experienced, how to help you get over that hump too. That's awesome.
No, that's 100% true what you said.
So now, out of your work, I understand there is a book.
Yes.
Tell me all about it.
I'm super, super excited about, because actually the book was birthed from my self-care journey. So, like I said earlier, last year I struggled a lot with self-care. And one of the things that I decided to do was to journal. And every day I started journaling different things that I had been experiencing, or just different things that helped me get through my self-care journey. And so by the time I finished, I realized that, oh my goodness, I have all these journal entries and I have all these questions and ideas and inspiration. And I've always wanted to put out a book. And so it came to me that through my process, I was able to share it with the world. And so I created the book, Finding the Missing Part of Me. It's a 31-day journal to self-discovery. And so the book basically takes you on a journey from who you were, who you are, and who you want to be. It's really an intimate relationship with yourself. It's all about you. And that's the main focus of self-care, because a lot of times, like I said, things happen from day to day, and we always sometimes put ourselves in the back. Especially as women, we're nurturers. It's easier for us to assist and do other things for other people, but to also, take the things away from ourselves. And so with the journal, whether you do it every day or every week or however you decide to do it, each day is something that will inspire you. It will motivate you. It will heal you. Some places it will take you that you you haven't revisited since, your past. So it's really personal, and I'm proud of it, because every single day or every single activity or question that's in the book, I actually did myself. So it was a process
Wow.
that I went through, and it helped me tremendously. And I wanted to share it with others, because I know a lot of times people struggle with finding who they are and losing themselves in other areas of their life. And so the journal will really help you find some of those missing pieces that you may have, or some areas that you really haven't touched on since, a long time, or some pains or some things that you need to rediscover so that you can heal and move forward in your life. The journal is so awesome, and because it touches so many aspects of the things I just mentioned. So I'm super excited about it. It's like my baby.
I love how you said earlier, it was born from, you think about where a seed is planted and sort of, it grows inside of you, and then you finally get to birth it.
Right.
You mentioned two things that I think are really parallel to physical well-being when you talk about the mental and emotional and spiritual aspects of self-care. One of the first things you talked about was just taking time out to be able to be full so you can pour out into someone else. I always love the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So talking about, being full yourself so you can be that nurturer, provider, or assistant, if you will, to other people. And then the second thing you talked about was how the journal helps people to explore even sometimes painful things that have happened to be able to grow from them. And it's amazing to me how much our physical and our mental and emotional well-being, how those things come to pass, are very similar. For example, when it comes to building muscle, we know that there's going to be discomfort involved. We understand, that I hate the saying to some extent, no pain, no gain, but it really is true that, out of that discomfort comes strength and endurance. But we also know that your rest days are just as important to the growth process. So I just love how, we can look at wellness as a whole picture, not just one thing, and how those concepts are the same, whether we're talking about our physical bodies or whether we're talking about our spiritual or mental self. I think that's amazing. Let me ask you, what's your favorite thing about your business?
I would say my favorite thing about my business is definitely being able to inspire, motivate, and heal. And that's my core mission statement with my business, because a lot of times people seek services and they help the superficial level. People come to me for all different type of services, and I pride myself in my business on giving you the tools so that you can go out and live your best life. Whatever picture that is painted for you, to help you along the way, but not to be a crutch so that you depend on me solely, but to and motivate and inspire you to take the tools to flourish in your own life. And so I pride myself on inspiring, healing, and motivating people. And I get a great feeling when I see my clients, they come in one way and they come out a different way. Or if it's just one thing that they feel has been changed in their life, or just the stories and the feedback and the reviews I get in my business, it really touches me, because sometimes, to be honest, as a business owner, you don't really know the effects of what your business has until you hear the feedback from your clients or from the people who listen to, whether it's your podcast or they read your book or they watch your Instagram or your Facebook or it's a conversation. You really don't know the impact you have until you hear those stories. And it warms my heart to know that, and I don't do it just for the accolades and the pats on the back, but I really do it to transform lives and to help people and to just and be a blessing to them, because I know so many people have helped me along the way, and I just want to be a blessing to others in any capacity I can. So when it comes to my business, I'm super, super, super excited about it, and I'm passionate about it. And I know that there are different places and avenues that I'm going to go. So my business is it's birthed from growing pains, as you said earlier. So I am so passionate about Inspired for Purpose, and I can go on and on and on.
I see. No, that's a good thing. It really comes through that you really are passionate about what you do, and that your goal is to really make a difference in people's lives. And I think that's really valuable. Sometimes, especially in this day and age where entrepreneurship is like it's the thing to do.
Right.
And,
right.
There's a lot that goes on social media, and people often want to showcase the fruits of their labor, or even the perceived fruits, but the stuff that goes on behind the scenes is the stuff that a lot of people don't really talk about. Really trying to develop your programs to stay educated, to, read, to be on top of your game, to make sure that when there's an exchange of money for your services, that you're really providing the best that you can for your clients. So when it comes to balance, you're married, you have children, you
Yes.
work, and you run a business. And how do you do it? If you could even give one tip to the aspiring entrepreneur who's got a lot on her plate, what would you offer up?
Wow, I get asked this question all the time, actually. I just answered it last week because I had a friend ask me, how do you juggle all these things? I don't even have half of the things on your plate, and I'm just baffled by how you do it. But I really have to say time management, because if I didn't have good time management skills, and I didn't always have it, like I said earlier, one area was neglected, whether it's myself or something else. But I would say definitely time management and teamwork. My husband is a huge part of my success, and he is an awesome partner. He really helps me with the children while I'm here, I'm there, I'm doing all kind of things. And I have a supportive family as well. They all help me when I need it. So I would say, my time management, but there's also the team that supports me, which is my husband and my family, because without them, I don't know how I will be able to juggle all the things that I do. It would be so hard.
I can only imagine. So tell me, what are you currently reading, or what was the last book that you read?
Besides my journal, because I actually redid it again, the last thing I read was actually Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Ooh,
I just finished reading her book, and that's also a part of my self-care was reading. I haven't read, I'm too embarrassed to say how long, but it's been a while since I've actually sat down and completed a book, because I would start and stop. But I was able to finally get through Michelle Obama's book, and it was so enlightening. And I wanted to kick off my new year with reading more books to feed not only my mind, but my soul and feed my spirit and my mind. So her book was the last book that I read.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's on my list for this year. I won't even tell listeners how many books that are yet to be completed are on my nightstand right now. It's actually pretty sad. So, man, this was such a great conversation. I think it's a topic that's so important. Just reminding people that you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to do everything. Taking care of yourself is okay. Saying no is fine. Rest days are just as important as active days, whether it's, taking a rest from physical activity or just, disconnecting, turning off the phone, turning off the TV, getting off social media, anything that we need to do to sort of hit the reset button for ourselves. I think it only makes us better and more functional in whatever roles that we choose to take on. And one of the things I heard a saying that referred to being intentional when adding things to your plate. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. And sometimes we're so busy being busy that we realize that we haven't really gotten anything done. So, sometimes just being able to unplug and hit the reset button and reprioritize and refresh and, come back out swinging to accomplish whatever our goals are, whether they're physical, they're our business, or they're mental. I think that's awesome. Tell me where people can find you online and learn more about you and your business and what services you have to offer.
So my website is www.inspire4purpose.org, and I can be found on Facebook at Inspire for Purpose. I can be found also on Twitter and Instagram with Inspire for Purpose as well. They're all the same handles. Right now, I am about to start a mastermind class also for ladies. We're about to kick it off. So we do have a few slots that are available. And the mastermind is basically, we are going to do some intensive goal setting and getting you ladies to figuring out what their purpose is and really what they're passionate about, and creating plans so that they can accomplish their goals for 2019. So that's what the next thing I'm really doing, because I decided that I was a part of a mastermind that really helped me and shaped me to launch my business. So I wanted to do the same for other ladies. So my mastermind class is still open. You can look on my website, www.inspireforpurpose.org, and you can sign up while we still have a few slots available.
Awesome. So that's inspire4purpose.org. All the same handles on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Awesome. Well, Mrs. Clark, it was a pleasure to catch up with you, and I'm so excited for the things that you're doing and what you will be doing in the future. And I appreciate you blessing my listeners with all of this fantastic information tonight. I thank you so much for being on.
No problem, and thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for listening. You've been listening to Press Play with Coach K. You guys make it a good one.